The king was curious what happened. Let go, he's talking. Maybe the Germans are good. Take out all the knives. It doesn't make any sense. There must be a problem. Whether the photographer stole the treasure or not. There's nothing that can be done. He still shouldn't have let the blood love thing get out. The time has passed by half an hour. Follow the powerful breath of Hien Min God. He finally arrived. He clasped his hands 45 degrees in front of his chest. I bowed down respectfully to the master. Hien Min God. He also recognized the presence of the Holy Grail. Immediately asked, did the children in the photo palace harvest anything? The Holy Ghost replied to Master. The occult organ within the Phantom Temple. It's extremely complicated. The children didn't harvest anything. I hear there's a bit of anger, Chuck. Holy fire glass. Without the harvest, we break the world of the gods. Because SAO didn't detect anything. The holy fire added. Unless the temple has no treasures. Didn't detect anything. He asked the opposite of God. That the master respects people. Did you see any of you leave? How many questions do you have? Who are you? Fire glass holy death, answered Chui death inflammation. There are two strangers. Hien Min God replied without chewing death, in this temple illusion. As for Yang, he went out. He is the son of Fire God. A disciple of the devil. I don't want to turn around with that devil. Listen to here, the Fire God hurriedly set out his guess. Master Son, they are capable. Has brought treasures in the image of the temple. Bring it all out. Hien Min God denies it's impossible. Two of them. How can I bring the treasure? Under my eyes. The holy fire glass firmly affirms that. Although it's not clear what actually happened. But the child identified the name Kier. Confirmed that there is a problem. The holy flame is so strong. My God, think a little. And give the space ring of Yang's inflammation. Let the glass of fire die, and said that this is the ring of Yang inflammation. Holy fire glass, see the space ring of Yang. He said inside, although there was one. Good stuff, but sure. There is a part, it's been hidden in him by Yang. And then he said to me, Lord. The master quickly tied him up. Absolutely not let him escape. My God has met you. It can bring bad treasure. Without being discovered by him. It's not that there isn't one in this world. But this time it's strange. He's starting to find it interesting. Then he ran a quick scan for traces of Yang's inflammation. The ocean is flying right now. He said exactly as the photographer said. Finally, the gods also found the ocean. Yang inflammation is hovering in the sky. Suddenly, I felt the breath of God. He came back to ask, I don't know the God. What's wrong with chasing you here? Hien Min God frankly asked Inflammation Yang, have you ever had a treasure in the temple? Or not if you leave the treasure here today. I may not kill you. But if you're stuck, you know the results. Yang inflammation is now playing right now. Ask the opposite of Goddess Grace, that getting the treasure is actually finding. But I gave it all to the Lord. After listening to Hien Min God also shut up. I can see that God still does not believe. Yang inflammation immediately continued Hien Min God. The Lord is a little confused. I have handed over all the Ra's. There was nothing left on him. God is getting even more angry right now. He is close to his voice. How dare you lie to me? Don't blame. I don't care about having sex with your master. Yang said, I dare not deceive the gods. Lord Shin Hien Min God clearly indicates. Where did we end up wrong? Yang inflammation, see out, there is nothing on you. Where can he hide the treasure? At this time, God is paying attention. I didn't see the photographer walking next to me. The inflammation is gone. He asked Yang, where is the person next to you? Yang and photographer are almost predictable. This situation will happen. Bed inflammation immediately responded to the person next to Italy. Master said, is the name of my heavenly servant Sao? He calmly said, the boy Kier, after going out to talk nonsense. Under my anger, he killed directly Hyan. God still doubts. I think this guy is lying. The treasure was hidden on his body. On the contrary, I don't believe a servant of heaven. I can escape from the palm of my hand. Then the Hyan Min god blared his eyes. Then he managed to use the sky and the sky to shine purple, to scan the entire temple of illusion. Find traces of the photographer. Scan around. I can't see the photographer. At this time, the gods accepted. I can't believe I found it. I used to ask for their breath. Maybe we'll find out soon enough. Why is it possible? But he's not angry yet. Take care of yourself, follow me. When he was pulled away, he shouted aloud. This god is too much. Where did the inflammation go very quickly? Some hours have passed in a beautiful poetic scene. Now in the sky, Yang Yang is still being dragged away by him. Yang Yang just opened his mouth raw, said the legendary Min god. I told you before he was killed. You still don't believe me. Hyan Min god, I can hear that Yang continues to deceive me. The more angry, closer to the voice, you want to find death. He threw Yang Yang to the ground. Yang inflammation from such a high altitude, when it falls to the ground, it creates an explosion. It comes with a lot of smoke. It was hard for him to stand up. Yang slowly stood up and looked up at the sky. Suddenly, a voice came from nowhere. Legend Min god, my child has nothing against you. Why are you so cruel to him? Then Ra is the father of Yang's inflammation. My God is over here. When I heard the devil's voice, I started to worry. He thinks the devil is here. I've just been hit by a conspiracy that has been downsized. It's absolutely impossible to risk your life now. My God, think a little. Then answer the devil carefully. This child of yours speaks deceitful words or sweet words. I think it's still light to kill him. After hearing everything the devil said, Legend Min God, if we'd been here, then you forgive my child. If I had to fight a battle for you and me, neither side is doing any good. The god thought he had found it. Search all over the body of Yang inflammation, even using celestial force to examine his body. There really is no treasure. Disgusting for a while. He finally had to give up temporarily. It seems that he has good fortune to temporarily release him. After thinking about it, he turned and left. The ocean here is still breathing. I see that the situation on both sides is fine. Turn around and thank the Lord. The devil said, today the Lord of Heaven is a little strange. It's even easier to give up. But if there's nothing else to go on about Yang, listen to your father's song. Yang also listened and left in a hurry. Move the scene at this time at the temple. The Holy Ghost is still standing there, waiting for good news from God. I can see the Spirit of God has returned. He asked the Lord how the harvest was. Can you catch the flu? Hyan Min God mused a little, then confirmed to say there is no treasure in the human body. The fire god was amazed to hear that. I asked Hyan Min God that there is no treasure. Master who looked, I see someone. It's in the same place as the flu. Hien Min God immediately thought. The other is, of course, a genius. Next to positive inflammation, there's a problem. And he said, the Holy Grail is not there. I remember his breath. I will definitely catch him next time. The person next to Yang inflammation. Maybe it's the fire god. First, just send someone to investigate the fire god. Just got out. Find a chance to stop the infection once and for all. The boy Kier holds the treasure. Say not, will eventually be returned to the hands of Yang. Holy fire glass. It makes sense to listen to Goddess will. That's it, yes. King NZ. I'm walking around the temple a few times. Try to find the treasure. He was so busy talking. Can't find anything. The treasures on him were also removed. Suddenly, in that quiet space of mountains and mountains, there's a name calling out. In sky, to change the scene in a certain corner in the image of the temple. The sutra that leads to 10,000 Lai Sun, a map of the photographer, appeared in thousands of Lai Sun Ha map. Has the photographer ever been here, or is he? Sit cross-legged and practice. The blood of the photographer is constantly stopping. He just trained. I thought before that I was afraid of being killed. Dare not stop moving. So much power of blood love. Even so, the VI had risen a few levels. Now stop using all the power of blood love. Then love the blood of the good Tai vein. How strong is it? Then the flames burn in the body. In the spirit of the photographer is now 9 fate. Then the star appeared. I can feel the power of the stars. It made him wake up, screaming at every corner of the body. The photographer's veins are boiling right now. And then it doesn't stop moving. Then the star burst into light. The photographer stood up and shouted again. He's reached the 6th heaven. It's the best scene. He started to burn. He thinks in this moment, it should strengthen the current VI. By having the ancient blood of the patriot, the body will not explode easily. I can bring the full force of the celestial sphere into the inside of the crystal, activate billions of units in the physical body. It's hard to miss a second chance. After thinking about it, he moved to heaven. He began to raise his neck, and he shouted, the angel of heaven. And then his body began to change dramatically. After a while, the photographer was finished. He sat down to think. I did not expect to have 1,000 Lai San Hamap. Cultivation is the ultimate decision. There is also the power of blood love. This person is really not simple. Suddenly, there was a voice, from where it echoes like your flesh. Give it to me. It's as if there's an attack. Photographer, according to reflector, lucky to dodge. He turned his head and disappeared. In an instant, Kier's voice echoed again. I finally found you. A cloud-shaped entity that says, I can't believe you're practicing here. We can still prevent our attacks. On the contrary, I despise you. The photographer realized that this voice was familiar. Then Ra is the voice of the notion of the divine image. He doesn't blame the sudden noise. Then Ra is trapped in the 10,000 Lai Sun heap. Photographer, with a sinister smile. It's not just contempt. You have made a huge mistake. You should not go into the forest. Inside the space, 10,000 Lai Sun heap is our field. The notion of the divine palace illusion sings out a voice of contempt. The photographer's words tell you that you can completely control everything. In this place, SAO, the photographer did not hesitate to confirm the idea of continuing, even though the mountain is your field. You want to lock me up is impossible. Listen to the idea. Just like FLI's buzzing by the ear. Say something to the wind. Then without hesitation, throw a fist at the idea of the phantom palace. But the idea of dodging that punch. The photographer can also feel it. The existence of the idea in the 10,000 Lai Sun Ha Gu is real, but he has no way to control it. The idea of speaking up, even though this is your field. But we're here and back as usual. It's not completely different from my field, haha. Moreover, you have made a big mistake. Is to bring the image of the god with the image of my temple. Transfer 2 thousands of Lai Sun Ha map. The space inside thousands. Lai Sun is your field. But the temple imagery is our field. You have the ability to make it easy for me. Be a little careful. Give me 7 defeats this time and leave at the most. Next time we can continue to look for opportunities. One day it will be done. You don't have to wait for the photographer to respond. The idea of the illusory bow launching the bow. The photographer finished listening to the monologue. To escape to the ruins of your temple. Let's explore a little bit. Finished talking, the photographer decided to take a trip to the temple, where the photographer realized his idea. You can't go in there. He is proud to think. You know, hiding in there is no excuse. We are now in the celestial sphere. Of course, there's no way to catch you. But we don't have forever. Stop at this level. Can you hide in the future? He sat down and continued to practice. Think even SAO is safe by chance. Stop practicing VI now. The thought here. I didn't expect the photographer's precautions to be so heavy. Soon there was a defense. I had only one god. If the front is against, he's definitely not a 10-year-old. 56-year-old SAO is so difficult to deal with. Space thousands of Lai Sun Ha Hill sank into quiet for a while. Then suddenly, I felt something coming. He opened his eyes. I saw a big pile of asteroids. He was too strong to fly from anywhere. And then break it to pieces. And then the photographer starts absorbing them. Each stream of celestial Kai, it's absorbed inside the trees. Creatures in thousands of Lai Sun Ha map. Because of the practice, it was almost completely absorbed by him. Celestial Kai force into the spirit of the photographer. High soul absorbed more and more, expanding. Then another star appeared with another one. Previously, it was 2. You can feel them. Surprisingly, the 2 were so fast. I went from 1 star to 2. You have to practice for 2.5 years. But in a previous life, even though I don't love Lin Kai letter. But it's also not a cultivation aid. No spiritual practice is not the same as the spiritual root. Maybe soon. Motto under 10,000 Lai Sun Ha 2. It is also caused by the power of photography. It's scary to look at the spirit waves. He judges in his head like a swallow justice. Suppose one day. It's hard to believe. What level will the VI of photography reach? I can't let him go that far. Let's practice quickly. Then the mantra hurriedly sat down and began to practice. For a moment, the words began to feel in his mind. There's white bubbles coming up, along with the sound of something moving. And then it fades in a second. The motto doesn't understand what's going on. At this time in the village, I was sitting in front of an 8-year-old. Gu Shi White. He was happy to ask 8 questions. I don't know what I told you. What did you think? The old man said nothing quietly. Keep trying to provoke me. I hear you don't see anything. The most important thing is 3 and 6. Try to get it straight. The fact that you destroyed me is just too much. As if for winning the position of the owner. You can't make such a great comeback. I always want to blame you. I am the 8 elders of the city. should still preside over the Cho justice. Listen to here. Try to hurry. Try to understand the meaning of the word. I understand it. It's fun on the outside, but he's muttering in his head. I despised him, and he continued. It's just a matter of canceling. This time, it's just words from one side of the story. I can't believe it. I just took away his God. He himself is not to blame others. He slammed his hand down on the table and asked, "This is your explanation?" I know I have been trying to get to this place 8 times. Shin, 8 reasons not to believe the wicked words. Here's a little ritual we're going to do for 8. Hope 8, happy to receive. After this works, I will definitely come home to thank you. Then he put the bribe on the table and gave it to Cho. Try to see that it's a bag. What does he think this means? Open the bag with your hand. He was surprised because it's filled with sparkling crystals. He judged them to be equivalent to tens of thousands of spirit stones. That's equivalent to half of his wealth. There is also a 6-fold spirit. I saw the look on the face of the old man. Tell me about trying. You gave me 8,000 stones. It's a little stingy, just 8 nudges to support me. After this is over, I will definitely prepare a part of the post-sacrifice. I know the 8 reasons for hard work. Need a large amount of resources. In the future, if there's anything we can do to help. 8, just open your mouth. When I heard this, I tried to be polite. What are you trying to say? What my nephew did. The urge is, of course, not to refuse. I was trying to get the plan right. It is also fun to say well. There are 8 things that make me feel safe. Then he stood up and prepared the words. I want to go to the 9th place. It is reported from 8. Try to stand up straight. I didn't forget to ask for it, so I walked away. Try to just leave. Try to think straight without thinking. This young man now has this kind of energy. Always try not to help you. But what do you do now with your body? Finish trying to get home. The servant asked the young master. The old man was willing to listen to the next day. Try to understand that this person is a good person. Just give him the full benefit. I can't believe he didn't get caught. Over the years for the virtues of elders. I soon held it in my hand and tried to hold it. This man is wicked. So new code. Even the elders who support him are not good. We're buying step by step. This side, try to relax in the palace. Suddenly, his subordinates hurriedly announced, Nang missing GIA. I just went to see 8 elders. I'm visiting 9 elders now. Try to be a little surprised and then turn back. He wanted to visit some elders. These elders are going to support him. These elders are on our side. It's been more than 15 years. Every year, we're all going to send some gifts to the government for them. I just visited a little. I want the elders to support him. It's absolutely impossible. Then he ordered Kier's subordinates to continue watching. Let me investigate and report back. The subordinate obeyed orders and ran away. The passage of time, the news. It's transmitted everywhere, the ears and eyes of forces, consistently reporting on the past and past. Every day, there were some people who reported to the Thien Min dragons. Listen to the news later. The face of Long Thien Min and the teacher next to him become tense. The teacher said to Long Thien Min, recently love Min using wide LAN speed. It must be said that the people, as we see, I'm afraid of not being your enemy. The mausoleum also responded, not even an old guy can solve it. It's simply a useless piece of trash. We are sorry to bring him up. The master added, it is related to the control of the city. We can't let him lose easily. Otherwise, what you did before was all wasted. But I want to try to have room to grow. In front of his eyes, it's far less. I saw the teacher say that. Long Thien Min said, this time from the temple. We harvest relatively well. This is 300,000 stones. Ask the elders to hand over. He carefully added, even though it is very likely to be used for bad things. But at least it can help us pull. Long time waiting for the time to be ripe. We've turned the world into a wreck. When the old man heard this, he asked about 300,000 spirit stones. It must be this time inside the temple. Is there a big advantage or something? Long replied that there was nothing. It's just harvesting a lot of ghost stones. That's what the elder said. The temple is filled with so many spiritual stones. Or maybe you can expand your power a little bit. I've sent so many masters before. I don't think it's so useless. But no matter what, I can't give up trying. For the position of Wu Then Tong, we must get it. Long Thien Min is so determined. This elder also wants to lend a helping hand. I said I'll help you get to the top. Don't forget that you agreed with me. Long Thien Min heard his conditions and replied, of course, I won't forget. To change a scene inside a certain forest. The mountain is still in the ground. Still quickly cultivate the celestial force. Inside thousands of Lai San Hamap, it's endless. I can absorb comfortably. But if so, High Soul will become raw very quickly. High Soul is now so tense that it is about to float. A little later it exploded, emitting a powerful light. Leo Melon in the spirit of the photographer. Growth again. It keeps emitting branches that bloom and bear fruit. The tree's trunks also rolled together into a giant tree. The photographer looked at the tree and said, Leo's grown up. It's so big, it's interesting. Even though the wings are swinging, time doesn't completely stop. Watch the flowers fall. I thought if that was the case, I would practice here. Say not. It might even save a little time. A month has passed, still in thousands of Lai San Ha Tu. To persevere in cultivation, his VI is now. It's already at 3-star level. The photographer continued to practice. 3 months later, it's a quasar. 6 months later, in the soul of High appeared another star, Sao. The soul of the sea shines a bright light. 2 VI of the Regency was promoted. It's a 5-star view. The photographer seems exhausted. He stopped breathing weakly. Then it doesn't feel right. He thought to himself, what a place has been practicing for so long. It's been 6 months, and I don't know how they got there 6. Then she caught the eye of the astonished. Looking at me, he asked what you were doing. It's like seeing the devil. Ask the photographer what we do. You just in the blink of an eye. 2 VI immediately went from the realm of 9 fate to the celestial scene. It's more like constantly going up a few levels. Stupid photographer. Ask in the blink of an eye. Then he thought he'd been practicing for more than 6 months. But our time is not the same. Maybe it's because of the Leo Sao tree. This made the photographer suspicious. He thought back on the feeling. Maybe time doesn't stop. There is only one time when I do not love the letter. To have the power of time not so strong. That Leo Melon, I don't know why it appears in the soul. It has something to do with the time of writing. I didn't love the letter. Brought me back to this space. But this life, I couldn't find a time to not love Ganoderma. Then if. That's right over there. Of course, at the same time, there was no relationship between Lin Kai letters. The photographer realized exactly that kind of feeling. Then, he took a fashion that does not love spirit, let the letter out. Hundreds of people looked at that page. Then think, the rest of the time I didn't love the book. Leo Kier's rope brings the celestial force into it. Then the photographer put out his hand. Start pouring the celestial sphere into fashion. Do not love reishi letter, Kier. It burns and fades, it glows. Around you, the photographer clings to the Leo body inside the photographer. Then countless LAN lights shine. Stupid photographer looked around. The light is everywhere. The falling flowers also stopped suddenly. Realize that time has not stopped. Of course, Leo Melons in the time did not love Lin Kai letter, have a relationship. Then he remembered Ra. The rest of the book is not in love. It's a French explosion. Time does not stop in the heart. He was interested. Hurry back and prepare to practice again. He kept practicing until half a year later. He's a 6-star star. And then a year later, it's 7. 3 more years, he's 8. 5 years later, he just sat there. Over the years. It's about sitting still and not moving. Like a monk sitting in meditation. At this time, his sea soul is constantly transported. Celestial force in thousands of Lysan, Hamap, constantly converging in the direction of the photographer. There are now 9 stars lit up. The photographer thought, 9 stars. Then the world is finally 1 step away. 15 years later, the Buddha VI was a celestial sight. The photographer thought that to VI stopped at the top of the wind. There's no way to level up half a step. Want to reach the sky. Maybe we need some external triggers. For being so absorbed in thinking. How many times do you say the name of a photographer without seeing a reply? After a while, the photographer was startled. The words asked, "What are you doing?" Asked without answering. The police officer asked what you just asked. How long have we been sitting? Just a little bit of a new word. I haven't heard back from you for so long. The next question was a little or half a day. The answer, objectively speaking, is a little bit. Subjectivity is half a day after you've absorbed the Kai paper. 2 VI suddenly increased the way the sky changed the scene. Fear is a step away. Listen to the words here. The face is hard to describe. It's hard to explain. This one leftover piece of paper. It makes time stop. 25 in my hand and 2 in my hand. Maybe I can take 45. But now my cultivation VI has reached a state of calm. The lake is useless. I just need to find the turning point of the picture. Then use the other page. 25 is like a perfect dream. It makes me a little confused. I saw that the police were silent for a while. She said it again, and the photographer hurriedly explained. No, I'm fine. I just fell inside. It's a kind of relatively magical idea. That's why the VI can grow so fast. I understand that. I feel a little guilty about the photographer. Hurry, I always call you. Do I bother you or not? The photographer replied, no, we're basically not listening. The idea of the illusory palace suddenly came to haunt. He also said a few words. This kid has thousands of Lysanha menu items. It's just like the Great Way. Take all the treasures inside my temple. I still think that. The secret is in my temple. It's already terrible. Not expected. There is a secret hidden in this boy's body. More horrible people. On the contrary, I want to see it. After you open the temple. What's it going to be? Turn back the direction of the voice. And then I thought for a moment that the idea was peeking at me. if you wanted to take your body. It's definitely not a creature. The idea of the Phantom Palace is really interesting. The saying goes, the raw people are bored. Keep thinking about your current situation. There's no need to try opening this little temple. Even though SAO only needs to be in thousands of Lysanha map, it doesn't escape either. It won't be long until it becomes strong. We can hide for more than 10 days. I went to see God only in this place. Finished speaking, in private, he soared away. After a while, I went to my office to see the results. The photographer raised his hand to collect the spirit stone. He stared in wonder at a god who had more. 300,000 spirit stones. There are more than 500 of them. After being raised in H-Sen, the output of the gods is indeed extravagant. There are more than 59. Take a bite out for a while. Tired, he breathed out a bad word. After collecting it, the spirit stone reached a little 20,000. In addition, there are more than 300,000 crystal flowers. What it feels like to talk about the economy. Maybe it doesn't make sense anymore. A lot of money is useless. You have to bring these stones transformed into new power. Otherwise, it would be a waste. It seems the photographer still sees something missing. He sat there for a moment and remembered. 15 days later in town, all the elders and their children have gathered together. Right now, try to keep your head down. 2 hands clasped in front of chest. Speak respectfully to the elders. This is trying too hard first. Invite your family and elders. Because we preside over the same justice as the old town tribe. Why do brothers have to be so miserable? If later, to try to cross the path to inherit the position of the landlord, they also work with brothers and sisters. We packed some. I don't know anything below. Just listen to what they say. We hurry to talk to each other. Not thinking about every day you suffer so much. I heard recently. It has just been established. Power is growing so fast. That's really fast. Another said. But don't think about. This is a new force that can defeat the enemy. I really can't imagine. A bald man added to beat something. Try to use some tricks. Cancel your God's will. They heard the bad news. I can't help but complain. I'm just cruel. Even though they are the same race. Another guy is right. I've been trying so far. Treat people very well. Trying is too cruel. If you let Cho try to inherit the position of the owner, the descendants of the clans, we have a way of life. Trying to get this side of the argument. The back and forth of the Kier brothers attracted attention. But it's nothing to try. He said inside the world. You are the one I won. Try to gather outsiders all the time. I want to destroy my love. Don't allow us to fight back. Every way you lose. I ran to this place crying. Gather the elders to denounce me. What's the point? Surely everyone can see it. When I finished, I tried to close my eyes. Try to say, no wrong. In the world, you are the one I won. But try to get out of the way. That's great. Then he tried harder, he said, directly cancel the God command. In the end, how big is the hatred? Under the full control of the Lord of the Rings. How many gods are there in total? It doesn't matter who cancels it. It's all about weakening us. How many gods are there in total? No matter who cancels it. It's all about weakening my God. Then he turned to me and asked me how I was going. It doesn't work for God's love. She heard them arguing nervously right now. He was angry. Shut up. Give me the children I'm supposed to be. should unite.